Welcome back to Forward Drive Adventure Crew. My name is Voss, and today we're playing in the garage. I had a light bar with AuxBeam for about 2 months now, and I got some nice yellow pods on them that you guys probably noticed in the past few videos. Right now we got a few more products from them to install on my sister's black Jeep, and she's been upgrading her Jeep slowly, and right now we need to install a light bar and some new pod lights to make her able to get through dusty and snowy weather that we have here. So we'll be installing it on her Jeep, a light bar, a 42-inch, and some nice pod lights that AuxBeam just came out with. So stay tuned and I'll show you how I'm going to be installing it on her Jeep. So right here are the new pod lights that we got, and they have a dual function. There's the white spot beam, and then there's the amber floodlight, and it works pretty good. There's a whole wiring kit that I wired up right here to my test battery, and this thing is pretty cool. So you can turn on the product and it will be really bright, and then we got mode button, and that will turn it into amber, so super bright. But then if you press mode one more time, you can have both. And then if you press one more time, it goes into strobing like an SOS. And then you can have the amber do the same thing or both. So one of these features are pretty cool when you're running in a desert or snow, when you'll be able to switch from spot to flood with the click of a button. I'm gonna see where I can install this for her, because this is going to be for the pods only, because she has a whole panel inside her Jeep that's going to be for the light bar and the rest of the accessories that she has in there, with a special button pod that she has inside. So I'm going to get on unboxing the 42-inch light bar and installing it on her Jeep. So she has this new Ironman 1400 rooftop tent, and my plan is to use the brackets and install the light bar right underneath here, so it will block any wind going between the rooftop tent and the roof. So that way we'll fill in this gap that is a really big gap, and it hangs out a little bit to the front here. We'll attach a light bar in there and make it look really cool. So what I'm going to start with is attaching the side brackets to the light bar, and this light bar is going on like this. So this is going to be the top, and that's going to be the bottom. Alright, so we are going to mount this bracket. It's going to be right up above, and then we can slide a bolt up on top of the rooftop tent, and it's going to be attached to the rail up there. So we got this one. I'm going to tighten it up because it'll still move, and then we can lock it with one of the smaller ones there. So we got this thing. Alright, so that's ready. So let me go get the bolts that I can use for the rooftop tent where we can mount this thing. So these are the box of bolts I got left over from assembling the rooftop tent, and this is what we're going to use to attach the light bar to the rooftop tent. We're going to slide it into the inner one right here, and then we can adjust it anywhere we want, wherever the light bar is going to be. So we need to figure out where the center of the Jeep is. For that, we'll need to bust out a tape measure. All right, just put it inside the groove of that, where that is.
Okay.
Yeah, inside that groove.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're exactly at 49 inches. And this thing is, drop it in there, and that is 42 3/4. So 49 and a half is, let's bust out a calculator.
It's 24 and a half.
24 and a half, okay. So 24.5 is, we need to mark it where it is on the Jeep. Hold on. $24.5. So 24.5 is right here. Come on, Pink. There we go. Well, I can see what the center of the light bar is. It's right here.
Yeah.
Because there's the huge 4 bulbs in the center, which is the spot beam, and that's what the center is. All right, Tanya, grab. I'll bring it over. I'll grab a nut right there. I'm holding it. You put screw on your nut. I'll torque him later, as long as you can get it on
I just
there.
want to make sure. Okay.
All right, I need one of those. Okay, so we're gonna slide it. Where's the center?
We need to go a little bit towards your side.
My way, okay.
Secure it first, and then we'll even it out.
All right, so it's gonna be
Yeah,
approximately.
we need to go right here. That's the center.
All right, let me grab a wrench and we'll tighten it up and see how it looks. Make sure it doesn't run away. Watch it on the front. And from here we can adjust the angles. But I think it's gonna look pretty cool. So right here, we got these rails that we're attaching into, and that's how the light bar is sitting. So it's sitting quite a ways from the windshield, above the windshield, so hopefully the spot beam will be shining right past the hood and not blind it on the winter snowy roads. So now I just got to figure out how to run this cord inside here, because I want to hide this connector and probably attach this wire somehow along here. We'll figure out a way to do it. On mine I had to Mickey Mouse it because mine is sitting a lot farther back. But that will be the next thing, is figure out how we're gonna attach the power to it. I kind of ran it underneath here. There was a lot of dirt underneath there, but I'm gonna see if I can fill it in with some silicone, because her window is good. It's not busted, but she is getting water inside, but I think it's underneath here somewhere. So I'm going to be taking that apart, because this is where we're going to be replacing the pods with the new AuxBeam pods. So instead of this old Amazon special, we're going to have these right in here on the new brackets, which are going to be a lot better. So I still got to open this up, and I'm going to run the wiring right underneath here. And I'm gonna take the fender off a little bit, and we're gonna hide this wire underneath here, because then from here I can get the wiring in there. So the junction will be behind the fender, so we don't have to drill anything over here. All right, so we're gonna be taking down this fender. We're gonna pull it back. I'm not gonna take it all the way. I just need to hide the wires and bring it out over here. So there's a gap right around here where we can bring all the wires where it's not gonna be affected by the hood. And then later on, we're gonna install some struts onto this hood, because I did it for mine and I love it. It holds up the hood a lot better than this. And it's hard to find it and stuff. We just put the struts in here and then we'll push them out. All right, we got the screws over here loosened up, but we got few screws down there that are holding up. I'm gonna see if I can peel the fender back or not. So let's see if we can pry it up. Oh, there we go. Holy moly, there's more dirt here than anything else. So now we can have the connector here and it can go there. Now I gotta clean this up. All right, let's get the wiring harness, and then we can see if we can butcher it or we can just run it all the way to. So this is a light bar harness, and it has a relay and a button and everything else. So because I already have a button that's going over for the light bar, we are gonna intercept it. So we're not gonna run the whole wiring where it needs to go. We're just gonna intercept it where we need it. But we do need to use a relay with this light bar because the light bar pulls quite a bit of amperage, and you do not want to use any flimsy wires in order to run the light bar, otherwise you will fry it. So we are going to use the relay, and we are going to go straight to the battery terminals, and then we're going to use the light bar harness. We just need to shorten it up or fold it. We'll see which way is going to be better, but that's how we're going to use. And then we're just going to run this portion of the wires towards the cab. I got this wire shortened out that is going to the light bar connector, which is going to go like this and clip in back here, and it's locked in, ready to go. So if we want to open it, there we go. It's weather sealed, so we'll be good to go. So all I'm gonna do is just bring it through right here, and I can put the fender back where it belongs. So now I gotta find the spot where we're gonna have the relay, and I'm gonna mount that, and then I'm gonna run this wire all the way over through the firewall and into the switch panel. So I think I'm gonna wait on running this through the bulkhead. We're gonna start on installing the new pods because we gotta bring everything in through the same way. So I'd rather wait on that and get it all done at once. All right, first things first is you gotta remove the wipers. And on XJs, they're kind of easy to remove, as long as they're haven't been there on too long. There we go, we got one. Alrighty, okay, so we got the two. And then we got a bunch of screws over here that hold this plastic piece. Okay, so we got all the screws. Now we just gotta pry open this plastic piece and get it out. Okay, we got these spray nozzle lines here. Alright, so we got the cowl. We can move it up top. Alright, normally in XJs you only have this side open. Previous owner of this Jeep cut that whole section out over there. But that gives us easy access to getting to the bolts of those lights. Okay, so we got some old wiring over here that goes over to these old lights. So we got that one out. And I don't really like this old wiring in here anyways. So I would like to get that all refreshed with the new harness that came with the lights. So the bolts on these pods are a lot bigger than the previous ones, so we're gonna expand the existing hole so we can fit a bigger bolt in there. Alright, so we got it torqued up, and these are gonna be like spot beams up lower. So I'm gonna angle them a few degrees out, so when she turns them on, it's shining to the sides, not really direct up front. So because we have a light bar up there, and when we're gonna be using the ember, it's gonna be pretty good angling out this way. Let me grab a wrench and we'll tighten down. All right, so we got that tightened down. So I think I'm just gonna have to put the wire right under the grill and let it be that way, because I don't want to drill any holes in here. Let's get on the other side and do the same thing. To get the wire through the firewall, I have depinned the connector, and I push one of the antennas through, which is the easiest push rod you can get, and then I'm just gonna attach the cables to it, pull it through, pin it back the way it was and connect the button on the other side. So that should make it a lot easier to get it going through the firewall without cutting big holes, because there's a rubber grommet that's a lot of stuff already going through, so we're just going to use that same hole. Alright, so now that we got the buttons in where we wanted, we just got to tie in this harness with the rest of the wire, which I got to find a way to jump around some of these hoops, because I want to bring the button out to where it's actually going to be comfortable to turn it on and off when you're driving. So we're going to keep it next to the other buttons. Right around here somewhere. So you can go on off mode, and it's going to be out of the way. Shouldn't be blind you much either. So it has a double-sided sticky tape on it, so we'll see. Let me assemble everything else here, and then we'll be good to go. So what we did here is we used a single DIN stereo bracket, and we just put a bunch of switches in it, because we're not using stereo in these Jeeps. We have a Bluetooth adapter hooked up straight to the amplifier, and that's what gives us music, because all of us have music nowadays on our phones, and all we need is a Bluetooth connection. So light bar on, we got fog lights, stereo, and then compressors. Alright, let's get this button going. Let's try that again. Perfect. Alright, let me hook up the battery, and when you're driving it's right behind your view, so it'll be in the same line as these buttons here. Well, we'll get the whole wires cleaned up and we'll be good to go. Alright, let's get the ground and positives hooked up properly, and we'll get everything lined up over here, so it's all going to be good. So I'm going to be using, instead of straight to the battery, I'm going to use this terminal here. It's a little bit out of the way, but it goes straight from here to the battery. I just want to have less stuff connected to the battery, just because this battery is a little taller and it's getting close to the hood, so I'd rather have all the positive connections down low. Alright, got the positive connections hooked up. Now we just gotta hook up the negatives. With negatives, I'm gonna go straight to the battery here, and that will be the best ground connection we can have. Since the battery is this close, I'd rather have it right on the battery. And that will complete our AuxBeam light bar and their new pod lights with fog light combination on this Jeep. The relays away from everything. Alright, I gotta do a few more things on here, like the brackets for the struts, and that should be wrapping up today's progress on this Jeep. Well, that concludes our AuxBeam light bar and pod lights install. It's very good system. I mean, the wires, the loom, everything is professional. Unlike Amazon Special, you get a light with 2 wires just chopped off, hook it up to whatever you want. This is a full kit that is worth what you're paying for it. So hope you guys like this little installation. We'll go out on the trail after the Christmas lights. We got outside to test out the light bar and the pods, and this light bar is pretty powerful. You can see the beam through the fog shooting across, so you can adjust it. I haven't locked it in yet, but you can see the spot beam in the center of this thing, and that's just really cool. And these pods are pretty cool also. You can change the color on them to ember. Boom, and there you go. And the link for the light bar and the pods are in the description. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on the next adventure.